Hello everyone, and welcome back to Killer Shrew Fans Killer Toy Reviews. Yesterday we took a brief break from some previous types of videos that we'd been making, and we took a look at the new for 2017 Papo Cryolophosaurus. And that was a lot of fun. We do have more Papo figures coming in, but meantime, we've got some unfinished business, and that is with the Safari Ltd 2017 lineup. We got a shipment in recently of a bunch of those figures, and today we're going to take a look at a standout, in my opinion at least, and that is this guy, the new for 2017 Safari Ltd Diplodocus. And I gotta say, I was not really planning on picking this one up, because it just did not interest me very much. I mean, the stock images were a little boring, if you ask my humble opinion. So he kind of slipped through the cracks for me, but then I decided, you know, it's a large sauropod toy, and I love large sauropod toys. So I decided I'd get him. And when he showed up, I was a little disappointed. And really, it's nothing to do with the sculpt or the paint, although there's a little bit of that playing into it. It's really in his size, and I know he looks sizable in frame right now, but we're going to get into some size comparisons, and you'll see what I mean pretty quickly here. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at this figure. Starting off at the head there, as you can see, Safari Ltd did include another rubber band tag, which I think is great because I can take it off and put it on as I please. And that makes displaying it very nice, because then you can sort of get those tags out of the way, but also you can put them back on if you want to keep it looking like new. So starting off at the head, this is going to be a tough video to do because he's so big he's hard to turn in the box there. You can see they have sculpted individual peg-like teeth, which is it's very much a characteristic of Diplodocus to have those peg-like teeth, which I think it's great that they did that sort of sculpting. I love that they have the mouth open and you can see the teeth in there. You've got a very black eye. There's a little bit of gloss in that eye, but nothing to make it really stand out. Going down the neck, you see that they have sculpted all of those spines going all the way down to the tail, which I think is great. I mean, if you're like me, and I know that I am, your first introduction to the Diplodocus happened in those BBC Walking with Dinosaurs documentaries, or the Big Al documentary. So I think it's great that they have captured that sort of look in this figure. It provides a lot of nostalgia, and it's accurate. Good job on that, Safari. Going all the way down the body, you've got a very powerful and long neck there, and as you can see, some of my spines have bent. That is because of the original placement of the tag. It put some pressure on them. So it's unfortunate that they are a little damaged when they arrived. They were a little damaged when they arrived. Going down the body, you see a nice, powerful, pillar-like leg on both sides with one claw. Very accurate. Good job, Safari. I like all the musculature that you see in these legs and how it gathers right in this area in the chest. You've kind of gotten a sense of the pectorals. And from the front, he does look rather chubby, which I think is pretty good. I enjoy seeing a chubby sauropod. Going down, you see some lovely wrinkles gathering and folding right above the gut. And I'm not sure if it's picking up that well on camera, but you can kind of see all of the subtle detail that Safari Ltd crammed into this figure. That's something that I think the stock images didn't do justice to. The figure looked very plain. It didn't look like it had all this great texture or anything. Further back, you've got another powerful leg with the accurate curved out claws there. Going all the way down the tail, the spines get bigger and bigger until they start to taper out, and it comes to this nice whip-like tail at end right there, which I think I read somewhere that they did a study recently that Diplodocus, or maybe it was a Patasaurus, it was some sauropod, could have whipped its tail fast enough to break the sound barrier, which I think would have hurt like hell, personally, but it's nice that they sort of gave it a very whip-like and graceful shape at the end. On the bottom there, oops, I lost him, there he is. On the bottom there, you've got all of your pertinence, Diplodocus 2017, Safari Ltd, Miami, Florida, all that noise. And that about covers the basic look of this figure. Oh, let's zoom out here. It's very awkward to review this one. Alright, there he is, in all of his glory. The paint job, it's nothing incredible or special, really. It's kind of boring. It's just this blue. It gradiates kind of nicely into the white up around here, where it's closer to the blue, but really it's just sort of garish and one-sided. And that was another disappointment. I mean, overall, I enjoy this figure, but I think for another cool sauropod toy, it could have been so much more. I mean, I think sauropod toys are some of the coolest toys that any toy company produces, period. So really, they could have gone much further with this figure, and I'm a little disappointed that they did not. You heard me say earlier in this video that I think that this figure is a little small, but just how big is it? Well, let's grab our trusty dusty tape measure and find out. So from the tip of the snout all the way to the back of the tail, you're looking at right around 18 inches, which is a very decent sized figure. I'm not saying it's small, it just feels a little bit small. From the top of the head all the way to the base, you've got about 4.5 inches, somewhere in that zone. Again, sizable, but nothing too special. Size comparison time, let's bring in some recently reviewed, also new for 2017, Safari Limited figures. Here we have the Dinosaur. This was one of my favorites of the lineup so far that we've taken a look at, and you can kind of see how those two size up next to each other, and you can kind of see what I mean by this figure really, when it should be dominating the Dinosaurus, is really just sort of, you know, only a little bit bigger. I mean, it's a lot bigger, but it feels like it's only a little bit bigger when you have them together. Next up is the also new for 2017 Safari Limited Parasaurolophus, and this one is an even bigger case of how that sort of how this figure feels small. I mean, Diplodocus was one of the longest dinosaurs, yet here it is only about 6 inches longer, give or take, than the, well, probably a lot more, maybe 8 inches longer than the Parasaurolophus here. And that's what I mean. And here's my deal breaker right here. We're going to bring in my main point that supports my argument. Here we have the Carnegie Diplodocus, and as you can see, I had to rotate him because the Carnegie Diplodocus won't even fit that way in this box. And as you can see, it is just it's taller, it's longer, and I mean, if not for those lovely spikes on this Diplodocus, I think that the sculpture on this one it would be better than this one. The spikes put this one ahead of this one. This one looks kind of shaved and naked, but that's really all that this Diplodocus has on the Carnegie Diplodocus. So if you were going to get one of them, I would highly recommend trying to get this guy. I mean, he's much more interesting to look at, he's much more sizable, and he's much more special, given that he's becoming rarer and rarer these days. Well, folks, that concludes our look at the new for 2017 Safari Limited Diplodocus. And honestly, it's okay. It really is. I mean, Safari Limited has had some great figures this year, and I feel like that doesn't help this one's case in particular. It just sort of feels like it pales in comparison to those other figures. But all that being said, I still think it deserves a 6.5 out of 10. It's accurate, it's got a decent size to it, it looks good on the shelf, but really, at the end of the day, it's nothing too incredible. I mean, I hoped for more, but what I got, I'm okay with. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Do you own this figure? Are you planning on picking it up? Do you prefer this one or the Carnegie one that I showed you back there? Or do you agree with me? Do you think it's a little lackluster? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't be afraid to hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and we will see you in future videos.